You have some tools here. You can grab the tools, move them around. You can do the same thing with spreadsheet. You can do your calculations in the spreadsheet. You have keys. You can click on the keys and it'll enter stuff into the spreadsheet. You can hide the keys, hide the tools. You have a help menu that has all these help videos in, which you probably know about. You can graph the equation of a parabola. The translation tool is on. If I click down and drag, it translates the Cartesian plane. If I turn that off, I grab the focus. I can move the focus to wherever I want on the screen. If you just let it go, it snaps because our snapping tool is on, or you can use your arrow keys to move it around like that. You can do the same thing with the vertex. You can grab the vertex and drag it around like that, up and down. Same with the directrix. You can drag the directrix away from the vertex. Make the parabola open up or down by moving the vertex or the focus or the directrix. You can also rotate the parabola 90 degrees like that. Let's quickly answer this. The A is -1/20, P is -5. And drag this down to -5 steps away from the vertex like that. The vertex is going to be, this is x minus h, it's going to be -1, which is +1. I can grab the parabola. If you grab it too close to the vertex, it thinks you want to move the vertex around. So just move it away from the vertex, grab it, and then it'll recenter the vertex on the mouse. I can just drag it to wherever I want. But once you're dragging it, you could also just release it and use your arrow keys to move the parabola to whatever point you want. So I want it to be at 1, and then the k is +2, so up to 2 like that. There's our answer, and then you press enter. Tells you if you're right. You can do calculations in here, so I can say, okay, my A is equal to -1/40, which is -0.25, and I can say, well, my P is going to be 1/4 all over the A. P is going to be -10. So you can use your spreadsheet to do your calculations. H is at 4. My K is at -7. I'm going to grab my vertex and drag it to 4, -7. There is my answer. But let's say I made a mistake. If you make a mistake, it will tell you where your mistake is. Show me the correct parabola. There's graphing to be done. There's also the opposite, where they give you the graph and they ask you to find the equation. Here we're given the graph, and I need to use my translation tool so I can see where my focus is and my vertex is. The P is this distance right here. That is 8. So my P is 8, I'm just going to write that here. A is 1/4 over the P value, 1/32. We could also do it that way. Then I write my equation. I could write the decimal value, or I could use 1/32. Either one is fine. The Y is equal to 0.03125. And then X minus the H, and the H is -6, so minus -6 is +6 squared. And so I'm using my keyboard here for that. Plus the K value, and the K is 12, +12, like that. And then you check to see if you're right by pressing enter. Let's drag this up so we can see the P is -1, 2, 3, 4, 5, -5. The A is 1/4 all over the -5, which is Y is equal to -0.05. You could also answer as a fraction. I could have answered as -1/20. So this is going to be X minus the H, and the H is 12, so X minus 12. But let's say I put X plus 12, and that's going to be my mistake. The K is at -11, -11. Then I press enter, and it tells me that I'm wrong. It points at the right solution, so I can compare my solution to the computer's solution. Where it's different is I have a +12, and they have a -12. It also puts the right answer here in the button. You can write on the screen, click down, and I'm drawing a line. That's kind of messy, but if you hold it for a second, it becomes a straight line. P is this distance from -12 down to 4, which is -8. To write, the easiest thing to do is just hit the control button. -8 is the P. is equal to -8. A is 1/4 times the P, -1/32. You can do writing on the screen. You can change the color of the writing. If you like, you can pick any color. You can change the size of the writing. You can undo steps. You can erase stuff. Using the eraser. If you double click on the eraser, it erases all the stuff that you've written, so be careful with that. Turn the pencil off. You can 11. The k is 12. That's going to give me an equation of y is equal to negative 1 all over 32, then x minus h of 11 squared plus the k plus 12. Those are the buttons that you can use. Level 13. We're given the parabola in general form. A value, which is 7 over 36. Turn that into a decimal, is equal to 7 divided by 36. Here we have 3.5 as the B value and 10.75 is the C value. The H is negative B over 2A, negative B all over 2 all over the A value. The K, the H is an X value, and I'm going to feed it into this equation. I'm going to replace the X in each case with negative 9. So I'm going to say it's equal to A times X value squared plus the B times the X value plus the C. We get negative 9, negative 5 as the vertex. Then negative 9, negative 5 here, just to remember that, because now I want to say, grab this, oops, let's grab the parabola and bring it to negative 9, negative 5 like this. Since the A is positive, we know it's opening up. Try making the X value negative 7 and see if we get a nice integer value. Negative 7, like that, and that gives us 4.2, so that's not enough, so I'm going to go to, I don't know, let's try negative 5, negative 4, negative 3, there we go. Negative 3 gives us 2. I'm going to drag this to negative 3, and it gives us positive 2 like that. Now we know the parabola goes through this vertex and this point, and this is our parabola. Press return to see if you were right. Let's say we made a mistake with this. So let's say I thought it was here, and then we press enter. It will show us where our mistake is. It says, okay, I see the red parabola. Our vertex was right, but it gives us a different point. Notice that if I'm dragging the vertex, it snaps. So there's things that you can do. You can turn off the snapping feature and then drag it to where you think it is. Or you can be very exact if you want. Here, I'm going to turn that back on. So let's say I wanted to bring this to a very specific point. I can zoom in. So double click on the magnifying glass, and then you can move it like this. It's kind of slow to do that. If you hit the shift, I want to move the whole graph down, so I'm hitting the down arrow and the over arrow. Holding down the shift and moving the arrows, it's moving up and down, left and right by 10 little squares at a time. Everything moves a lot faster. If I wanted to move this to 9 point, because we're zoomed in, let's turn that off. Every time move it, it's moving by 0.1. So this is 9, 9.1, 9.2, 9.3, 9.4. Say I wanted to get it to 9.43. I would hold down the command key and then 1, 2, 3, like that. It allows us to move a 100th. So the best you can do in this program is the nearest 100th, the second decimal place. Those are the keys, the magnifying keys. If you double click on the magnifying glass, it zooms in so you can see each little box is a 10th. Double click on it, it zooms back out. You can zoom in one step at a time. You can translate like that. If you double click on the translation, it recenters the origin. Rotating tools rotates the graph that you're trying to draw. The rotating key will rotate the graph. We have a whole bunch of functions, mathematical functions that you can use inside the spreadsheet. Say you had 16, I want to take the square root of 16, so I could say it's equal to function square root of that cell, which is A1, and then 4. But you could also do it like this. You could say it's this to the power of 0.5. So you could do it like that as well. To help edit, we can do things like, let's say I wanted to do a calculation, like let's say I wanted to go up by 1. So it's equal to that cell plus 1. And then if I fill this down, so edit, fill down, like that, so it fills in all of these values. Let's say I wanted to say that this cell is going to be equal to that cell plus 4. If I fill that down, it does that. Or I can even fill this one right. This cell is that cell plus 4, and this cell is this cell plus 4, and this cell is that cell plus 4. Okay, what else can you do? Here, let's get rid of all of that. So I'm just going to fill this down. D. You could also use the keyboard shortcut, so I'm using Command D and Command R. You could also, if I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, A. I could go up to here and say undo, so it undoes the last step. So undo, 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 or I could do redo. Okay, so it undoes and redoes what you've done inside the spreadsheet. That's what the edits do. And then over here in the file, we can go to levels and results and go and pick different levels. Or we could go to the math page and choose a whole different math program. That is it for the Parabola math program. Have a good day.